Hey everyone, welcome to our SnapLogic Agentic Builder webinar series. My name's Wong, and I'll be your host, or one of your hosts, say, to kind of help us get started here. If everyone can kind of go into the chat, type in where you're from, and actually what you're hoping to get out of this. That would be awesome. That way we check, make sure everything's working correctly on your side at the same time. Okay, you all should be able to hear me. Um, and let's kind of dive into things. We have a couple of housekeeping items, so that'll give us opportunity for other people to kind of join in and not miss anything. Okay. Uh, Now, like I said, this is our SnapLogic Agentic Builder webinar series, and this is actually a chance for you to actually learn about building agentic workflows and agents. Okay, you're going to get a chance to actually see what others have built and what they're actually using. The goal here is really to kind of share that knowledge and really hope spur your imagination as what is possible, and then help you really figure out what you actually might want to, right? And in the end, this is about working smarter, not harder, and helping the business operate a bit better. Next slide, please. Okay, so with that, like I said, we're kicking this thing off. Today is our first of our series. Every Wednesday, there's going to be every Wednesday, every Thursday, there's going to be an opportunity where you can actually see different parts of the business, how they're becoming more efficient and thinking really outside the box. Okay, trying to answer the question of what if I could do this? Okay, and the first 5 webinars are open for registration, so feel free to sign up for all of them if you can. So actually, kind of let's get started. So we're going to go and talk about the agenda. What you'll see popping up momentarily is the poll. If you could please go in and answer that, that'll be awesome. It's over on the upper right-hand corner, in the between the chat and the docs button up there. Just click on it, pick your top 3 challenges there. Okay, um, and we'll look at that a little bit later. So we're going to also go into the business case and the processes that are challenging for people. From there, so you can kind of understand where that the issue really evolved and really comes from. Okay, a blueprint as to how we approached it, how it got solved, a demonstration. So we're going to kind of peel that onion, go deep down into how things work, so you can actually see the product. Okay, and kind of behind the scenes type stuff, and then also circle back to what was the business impact? Did this make a difference and such? And then of course Q&A. Now Q&A doesn't have to wait till the end. There is the Q&A section in that bar. Go ahead, type in your questions there during the event, and we'll go and try to answer those throughout while the presentation's going. Okay. So with that, next slide. And like I said, my name's Jeffrey, and we actually have the honor of being joined by Jordan Millhausen, and he's a solution engineer here at SnapLogic. His job really is to help explain technology to customers and kind of show them what is possible with it, and like I said, peel that onion and show them how to approach solving their challenges. And he's going to come and talk to us something about that's near and dear to him, the sales process and those challenges that people kind of experience. So
Yeah,
with that,
welcome
let's
everybody. Just excited to kind of
on to you.
be here and explain, what I created. I created a pretty cool internal solution that helps sales teams kind of, with their overall sales process, updating CRMs automatically and things like that. So we're going to get into it shortly here.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Next slide, and let's kind of just completely jump into it. We're going to close out the poll now. Hopefully everyone had a chance to respond to it. And let's see, next slide. So Jordan, you're a solution engineer here at SnapLogic, okay? You kind of see firsthand and you deal with it every single day. What were some of those problems and that you're actually facing as a solution engineer?
Yeah, so when I joined SnapLogic back in November, a few short months later, I started really diving into the agentic creation within SnapLogic. SnapLogic be on the forefront of agent building, and I just saw a gap or an opportunity where a lot of your AEs and SEs were facing issues with kind of twofold. One was the time it takes to take notes, ask questions on the calls, and then update CRMs after, and then kind of remember all the information that happened on the calls. And then also for the sales leaders, the context of the calls and providing contextual feedback and contextual coaching for reps. So that's kind of the problem that I saw kind of early on.
Okay, so that was a problem. So then, you're a problem solver, obviously, and you're technical. What was going through your head in terms of trying to solve this thing?
Yeah, so I honestly created this solution partly because I wanted to learn the product more. So as I said, I was pretty new to the company, joining in November, and I wanted to really learn the process, learn how to actually build agents within the platform. So I just saw the gap, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to orchestrate this AI agent to combine a lot of these different source systems that we have access to, and sort of just create this, sales agentic workflow that allows me to take transcript data, analyze it, update CRMs accordingly, and then also provide a summary of conversations directly into your Slack inbox.
Okay, so you and we've talked about this a lot, and in reality, it's kind of like your goal is to kind of show people how things work, but then that's the other half of your day job is really communicating back to the rest of the team in terms of what's going on, the customer's needs, their pain points, their use cases, and updating Salesforce for status, what's interesting, and keeping everyone appraised, right? To make sure that you get all the support and the resources you need. But unfortunately, that takes a lot of time and time away from things that you could be building and demonstrating, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of what led to the solution was how can we use the AI, how can we use agents, how can we use this new technology to free up time, because that's the whole point of AI, is to help kind of streamline those mundane tasks. And so that's kind of in a sense what really led to this solution.
Gotcha. So what did you actually build? If you could kind of go
Yes,
into that, that'd be
of
awesome.
course. So I'm going to take everybody through sort of the high level overview of what I built. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. This is going to be a pretty high level overview. We do have pretty detailed videos on this solution. But first, I'm just going to kind of go over just the schematics of kind of what I created. So the entire flow starts with Chorus. So if we were recording this call via Chorus, it's just a Zoom integration recording software. The Chorus transcript and other metadata gets sent directly to SnapLogic as soon as a call is finished recording. That's where I have sort of that first pipeline, which takes in and ingests that information, and it manipulates it and massages it, stores it in a few different databases like Snowflake and Pinecone for vector database searching. And then it ultimately goes to our agent driver after that. So the agent driver within SnapLogic is nothing more than the orchestrator of the agent within SnapLogic. So agents are defined as your AI that has essentially tool calling. And so the Chorus webhook provides and massages the data that is needed for our agent driver to execute the tools. And so from there, we have the tool calling. So I have a few different tools within the AI Sales Companion. One, it's the Salesforce Opportunity Manager, the analysis tools, and then the Slack notification tool. So these are all working independently in order to, one, update the CRM. That's what that Salesforce Opportunity Manager is. Two, provide an analysis and coaching feedback. It provides a PDF, a summary of the call, as well as some other metadata that's important for just making sure that there's a full picture of the sales call. And then the Slack notification. So actually, so the user doesn't have to go to another, online system or go to Chorus, because Chorus does provide summaries of calls. but it's not directly in your inbox, because this entire process is entirely seamless. And so once a call is finished recording, you do nothing besides just wait for the DM to hit your Slack inbox. And so that's what's happening here. After the Salesforce opportunity fields are updated, the Slack notification tool sends a message directly to your DMs. And then from there, you can actually message with the context of the transcript in your, in the conversation within the thread. And you can actually keep a conversation log, asking questions like, what are the use cases described in the call? What were the endpoints? What was the databases that was discussed? It just keeps everything organized directly in Slack. You can come to it later in case you need to, come back to any other information. So let's get building. So what we're actually going to do is I'm going to just show you briefly what it looks like within Slack, and then we're actually going to move over to SnapLogic, and we're going to show just one of the tools. Let me back up just a sec. we're going to look at the summarization tool. So one of the analysis tools within this pipeline. We're not going to look at, obviously every single pipeline within this workflow, because that would take too much time. So we're going to actually just look at one single pipeline. But before we do that, just want to show what this looks like within Slack. So let me stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to pull up Slack. All right. And so this is the DM that you get. I affectionately just called it Echo Sales Coach internally. This is what I called it. And all you have to do is it provides a summary of the call, key discussion points, some additional information. And then from here, all you have to do is just go into the thread of the message and just ask a question like, what were the use cases? What could I have done differently? What could I have done to, better progress the sales call? Things like that. I'm not going to ask the question right now just because I want to keep this going. So now we're going to move over to SnapLogic. One sec to reshare my screen. All right. So for those of you that are familiar with SnapLogic, you know what you're looking at here. This is a pipeline. We create, data orchestration, AI orchestration via snaps. So these are just the specialists that abstract the need to code. Right now, what we're looking at is this is one of the tools. This is the Slack summary tool that allows us to take that transcript data, use AI to analyze it, provide the summary, and then that gets used, it gets sent back up to the agent in order to send that over Slack. So right now I just have a sample set of data coming through this pipeline. This is exactly what this tool will see. Tool pipeline synonymous. This is exactly what the tool will see, the data that it's sent from the agent. So we're just sending over the UUID. So the way that I set this up was I dynamically vectorized the transcript within Pinecone, and then I also saved it in Snowflake. So all I'm doing here is the way that I'm grabbing that transcript again for this tool is just using a Snowflake execute snap in order to grab that the data based off of the UUID. And so what we get out of the Snowflake execute is the transcript data, which is right here. So this is all we need. And I'm just going to use this mapper snap to transform that data so we can prepare that transcript data, as you can see here, for our system prompt, which then hits our LLM call, which then provides a response back to the agent so that we have that summary that can be sent via Slack. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to delete this. I want to show you how simple it is to add and to kind of orchestrate AI within SnapLogic. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the snaps on the left-hand side, and the system prompt for the Azure OpenAI LLM call is going to be this prompt generator. So within SnapLogic, we're vendor agnostic when it comes to LLMs. So we work with, all of your LLMs within Amazon Bedrock, Claude, Mistral, Titan. Then we have Gemini, as well as Azure OpenAI. So we're going to take this prompt generator, and this is going to be our system prompt. All we're going to do is snap that into place. And we're going to open up what we call our prompt composer. And here you can see kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panes of glass. This is a tool within SnapLogic that abstracts the need to take our prompt engineering away from the platform, so we can do all of our prompt engineering directly in the platform instead of taking the prompt, taking the LLM response, and then putting that into ChatGPT and asking ChatGPT to help us update. We can do all of that directly in here. And so what we can see, just to kind of break this down, we have our input schema on the left, the input data on the left, what our prompt actually is in the middle, the template that is rendered, and then what that LLM response is going to be, so we don't have to leave the screen. So this is just a placeholder. So all I'm going to do is real quickly, I'm just going to use what we call SnapGPT, which is our internal AI assistant that helps you build within SnapLogic. And I'm just going to say, give me a prompt for a sales leader at a data app AI integration tech company, analyzing a transcript and providing you a useful summary of the call. And so just like that, it introspects into what that input schema is. We're going to hit update response. It creates a prompt pretty seamlessly, along with detailed instructions on how to analyze the transcript. So right now we're just updating that response. We're just running the pipeline again. We're validating it. So we just need to take a second to prepare this. So give it a sec for it to load. So now we have hit our system prompt. So all we're doing with this yellow snap here, again, system prompt, we're building the prompt for our AI, our Azure Open AI LLM call. And just to look at the settings real quick here, this is where we actually set the LLM. All you do is input your credentials, and then you can introspect and see which models you have access to. Right now, we're using the best GPT-4o right now. I know GPT-5 has come out, but it's not quite ready for the API calls just yet. So as you can see, if we click into if we open the prompt composer again, we can see again, as I mentioned, input schema, input data, the prompt, the rendered template, because we're dynamically passing a transcript each time, and then the LLM response, as you can see, based off of kind of how we prompted the agent, we got the results here. And then you can tweak the prompt from here. So that's just prompt engineering, tweaking the results that you want, just to make sure you get the response you want. And then this final step here, we're just extracting the response, and this is what is actually being sent to our AI agent for our Slack summary, just like that. Right. And so with that, I'm going to jump back over to the presentation. Give me one sec. Share my screen again. Oh, I gotta move this back over to my other screen.
Yeah, that's all you guys can tell. This is a live event, so there's always a few technical difficulties that are occurring.
Okay.
And definitely keep those questions coming in.
There we go. Sorry, it's closed out for some reason. You guys see that?
No, we see it with the URL bar. So you're not in Preso mode.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right. So yes, that was the just one of the tools within the Echo, or within the AI Sales Companion. I think there's about 7 tools within that agentic workflow, which is I hope that gave you guys a good sense of kind of how tool orchestration is created within SnapLogic.
All right, that was a awesome demo, Jordan. So, obviously, you built this on your own. What support? Well, actually, maybe we should ask that question. What support did you actually have building this?
So this was sort of a passion project for me. Again, I mentioned that I did this to learn the platform. I had a few different key individuals that kind of helped me along the way within the organization. So I did, had a lot of assistance kind of just in the early stages, just as I was learning the platform. Slack messages every 10 minutes asking questions. So the best way to learn.
Okay, all right. So it kind of sounds like you did kind of take most of the effort building this on your own, and you were new to building agents and such. So that's really awesome work there, Jordan. Now, I'm sure one of the questions that people have on their mind is, all right, this thing got deployed, right? And if so, what were the reactions of the sales guys, your AEs, your SEs, and the people actually using this thing? Because you built it, you put it out there, not knowing how they're going to react. So what happened?
It's got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people reach out to me, post in our Slack messages that it helps a lot on their calls. So that's always great to kind of see, it actually working. Never creating an AI agent nor creating something for production. It's a little, I don't want to say scary, but it's a little, daunting if it doesn't work, because then you have all eyes on you. But thankfully it's in production and it's running very smoothly now, and it's providing a lot of value for the team.
All right, that's good to hear. Because I've been kind of watching it on the side too, and people seem very happy with it. And so, being the primary on this project, what would you kind of say are the enhancements that you kind of need to make for that next revision, to kind of bring it to that whole, next level?
Yeah. So how the agent is integrated with, um, or how I save the data now, uh, I don't take into account the context of every call within the opportunity. So Chorus is connected to Salesforce, and it sends the metadata over and it connects the opportunity ID. What I'm still trying to figure out is the best way to, for example, if I was on the third call within an op, to be able to take in the context of, this first and second call while providing feedback for that third call. That's what I'm still trying to figure out. So I would say that's like the biggest enhancement to come.
Okay, all right, that's cool. So that also kind of brings up the point of it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect for people to actually start getting value out of this thing, right?
Yeah, so you're never gonna have something perfect, especially with AI agents. First and foremost, it's always kind of start small, integrate, one tool, learn the process, and then kind of build from there. So this thing didn't start out, with all of these tools and all of this functionality. It's kind of been building blocks and just, learning as you build.
Okay, that's perfect. Learning as you build. That's one thing that I kind of advocate a lot too. You have this grand idea as to what to build, how to build it, and then you kind of get the blank paper. Where do I start? So for the people who are just kind of learning, how do you actually recommend that they kind of start off?
I would go to ChatGPT or Claude and just ask. If you're not utilizing AI in your daily life right now, I would highly recommend it. Um, One other thing, I mean, internally we have or for our customers, we have an AI boot camp that we do. I'm assuming, we'll send that invite out. So that's a great place to start as well. I would probably say one of those two things.
Okay, all right. So out of curiosity, what did you build first for this agent?
What did I build first for this
Assuming
agent?
you remember.
I don't even know if I remember now. It was probably just like the connection to Slack. So the connection from Chorus to the analysis and the summary, and then sending that to Slack, and then being able to communicate with the context of the transcripts within the Slack threads. That was probably the first, that like entire flow.
All right. So kind of, saying it back to you, it's you really broke it down into little components and built one little section, made sure that worked, built another section, made that work, and slowly started chaining it all together.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Kind of building out the little sections and then chaining it together. Because after the Slack connection, it was then the Salesforce Opportunity Manager, which is the next big thing.
Okay. All right. And people might not realize it, but what's in Salesforce is MedPick, which is the entire sales process, and you have to put in various information so that people know how things are progressing. And that's one of the sales best practices that is adopted across basically every single company. So making that more efficient, is like table stakes for people, giving time back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all right. So assuming that um, Echo is finished, what do you want to do next in the future?
Um,
That
I
next
kind
big
of,
project.
I mean, I'm just probably going to keep making enhancements to this. I've created a dashboard as well for sales leadership to kind of be able to see all the analysis that, um, Echo provides for each of the, AE sales engineers. Uh, I think the biggest thing would just, I mentioned this before, would just be to add the context of all the calls subsequently as the deals progress, and then ultimately be able to provide an accurate deal qualification score. I'll probably say that.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So let's actually jump over the Q&A section. Let me kind of scan through some of the questions there. Um, so there's a lot of questions. One of the big ones that kind of came up is, really, where to get started. And I think you kind of mentioned the boot camp also. Can you kind of talk about what the agent boot camp is and whether or not that would be a good way for people to actually get started in terms of building agents?
Yeah, so it's SnapLogic AI Engineer Bootcamp. You get a LinkedIn certification. So basically, we take you through the basics of creating agents from very simple AI workflow of just like 3 snaps, just asking a very basic question just to kind of get your feet wet. Then we get into vectorization within vector databases and embeddings. We use Pinecone, and then just being able to create knowledge bases, and then building from there and actually creating agents, and then ultimately a project where we walk you through the building of the last few ones boot camps we've done. We've built Salesforce front end chatbots for managing Salesforce, so updating, deleting, reviewing Salesforce data from a front end user interface.
Okay. All right. One of the big questions that kind of came up also is about prompting and building prompts. And you kind of showcased a little bit about, prompt composer. Can you kind of go into a little bit more about, building prompts and also how prompt composer potentially, might help it become easier?
Yeah, so I briefly touched on that within that the live building demo. But basically, the prompt composer just allows you to, along with a lot of other things within SnapLogic, it just speeds up the time to value. It just speeds up the productivity. So it allows you to just edit your prompts directly within the prompt composer without having to leave and going back to ChatGPT and asking it to update the prompts for you. Prompting is very important to get your agent to do what you want it to do. So it's a good skill to have.
Okay. And I believe there are a bunch of good technical blogs on prompting that we have in our community site. So feel free to kind of check those things out too. And we have some on our SnapLogic blog area too. Um, let's see. I'm just kind of scrolling through. All right, so one question that came up is, can we build RAG with this? I'm assuming they mean the SnapLogic, platform itself. Do you want to kind of explain, what RAG is and what you can kind of do with RAG in Agent Creator?
Yeah, so RAG is just, I mean, it's retrieval augmented generation, just a matter of using sort of a knowledge base to that the AI has access to whenever you ask it questions, essentially what it is. And that's just a matter of adding a tool and adding a database or some sort of knowledge base within that tool and then you just give access to that agent.
Okay.
It's one of the most common and basic and widely used applications.
All right. And let's see. Oh, so the question also came in about your pipelines, and that was about multimedia context. How do you kind of handle that?
Assuming you mean multimodal, I'm trying to look at the
Yes,
question.
multimodal.
Yeah, modal. Yes. So SnapLogic has multimodal capabilities. It's just another Snap. Depends on the LLM model. For example, Gemini can handle text, PDFs, images, video, audio, then your sonnets and your GPTs. I don't think they can handle video and audio just yet. But yeah, there's multimodal capabilities within SnapLogic.
All right. So basically, as long as the LLM has capability to handle it, we can kind of support it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that wraps up our question section. We are wrapping up here. Next slide, please, for me, Jordan. So
Yep.
waiting for that slide to pop up. But this kind of concludes our first session, and hope to see you all next Thursday, September 4th, for our next webinar, where we're actually talking about a finance use case where you can kind of see the various pipeline, see how it works, see how the business is benefiting from this. And of course, if you haven't signed up for all of the sessions, feel free to go back in and sign up for them. You'll get to see how different parts of the company are using agents to basically work better. With that, thank you very much. And if we did answer one of your questions, feel free to kind of reach out to your CSM, and we can kind of continue the discussion there. Thanks, and have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.